Welcome back to SoulBack. This is the R&B podcast. Kyle here from Asia right now, recording live. I've got Tom and Ed with me on the other side of the world. What's going on, guys?
Player, we are literally worldwide today.
That's what's up, Kyle. Thanks for making time for us while you're out there eating alligator and chicken feet.
Hey, man, I had to do what I had to do.
Oh, my God. 48 seconds in and we acting up.
We have so much music to cover, but, Halloween just passed, and, a lot of cool things, candy, of course, but did you guys see Beyonce's costume? She was dressed as Toni Braxton.
I saw it, and I thought it was pretty awesome.
I didn't really care.
No, of course you didn't. Now, if Beyonce was dressed like Musiq Soulchild's first album cover,
imagine
dude
that.
would maybe keep his pants on.
Did that actually? I think it actually boosted Toni Braxton's streaming numbers, if I remember correctly. That's what I read.
That's what I read. I'm not sure if it's true or if it's just Beyhive standing as usual. But I mean, anything that'll hype up Toni is cool with me. Love me some Toni, and she did a reenactment of what I consider her best album. So I thought it was great.
Seriously, though, are people this dumb though? Oh my God! I just remembered Toni Braxton exists. Let me go listen to her music.
Yes, people are that dumb. I can definitely tell you that. Even if you check out that's why artists are so happy to be on stuff like Unsung, because there's always a gigantic boost because there are so many fans. It's like, oh crap, I forgot about Breathe Again, and remember that song, How Many Ways, and oh, you're making me, I'm going to tear up iTunes.
That's bad.
Yeah,
this is actually true, but the guys, we also saw a couple of photos from Ed. You were doing your own photo shoot. You dressed up like Usher in one picture.
Yes, player. See, Beyonce did her thing, but you have to see what your boy did. Go check out my Twitter. It's Edward Bowser, one word, and see what I did. I went through the 80s, the 90s, and 2000s. So I had Rick James, I had Usher's My Way album, and then I did the Outkast Stankonia album. Beyonce ain't got nothing on your boy.
Wow.
man, I'm over here fighting tooth and nail to keep R&B alive, and you're over there doing Instagram photo shoots? Not cool, man.
It's going to be one of those podcasts, Kyle. I can smell it.
Well, let's keep Tom happy here. Halloween just passed. Candy for everyone. I'm going to go on record and say, and this might piss you guys off and piss the people off on this, that's listening right now, but Snickers is the best candy bar. I'm just going to put it out there right now.
Who's going to get pissed off about that? That's the truth.
What? You guys must have never tried Butterfinger.
Butterfinger is good. It's top 5. I don't know if I put it number 1. It gets all in your teeth.
I mean, is Twix considered a candy bar?
That's pushing it.
Like, what do you put that
like
in? Which category is that?
Like when people try to make Rihanna R&B, it's kind of like,
So what do you call it then? What are you calling that?
It's a wafer. It's chocolate-covered wafer. That's what it is.
All right, so it's the number 1 wafer. We'll give it that.
Yeah, it's the number 1 wafer.
Wait, isn't Kit Kat the superior wafer?
No.
Number 2 wafer.
No, you need the caramel. It puts over the top.
You guys. All right, let's focus on R&B then, since we're not going to agree on Snickers being the best. Tom,
do we? I agree with you, player. But do we agree on anything here? This is not a shot.
All right, let's talk about some R&B here. Tom, I want you to talk about this project first because, guys, for as long as I've known Tom, he's loved this woman. She goes by the name of Amerie, who I think is still one of the best-looking females in the game. But Tom has been waiting since 2009 for this album. Amerie dropped a 2-part EP, 4 a.m. and what was the other one called, Tom? 4 a.m. After
Mulholland 4 a.m. and After 4 a.m.
So, I know Ed.
You want me to speak on it?
Yeah, I mean, Ed compared it to a Transformers soundtrack, but Tom, you can speak on it first.
I don't even know what that means, but we were happy that she came back with this surprise project. We thought she might never record again based on her comments, but it was a total mixed review. A lot of comments I read did not like this project. I'd rather hold my thoughts back. Based on what she's put out in recent years, like random songs, it was kind of expected, this newer sound, but Ed, you want to chime in?
You know I want to chime in. Listen, players, if you are a longtime reader of Soul and Stereo, you know that Amerie is one of my, really one of my all-time favorite artists. Definitely in the past 10 or 15 years, but definitely one of my favorites of all time. So I was greatly looking forward to this project. And I know a lot of fans really had checked out on her pretty much by 2009, even maybe before that. And like you said, we were kind of familiar with the direction her music was going, so it wasn't that much of a surprise. However, dog, these two EPs were a mess. And they weren't a mess for the reasons that a lot of fans are saying, because a lot of people I've encountered are saying, oh, well, she was wrong to release this. We want that pop stuff. We want that one thing. And as I've talked about a million times, I don't want artists to keep reinventing the wheel. We've had one thing. It's fine. It's fine to progress to a new sound. And I wasn't mad at her going with this kind of darker sound. I was reading an interview where she always considered herself kind of a darker artist, but her music was just always kind of presented as very upbeat. And she always kind of considered herself kind of, a little bit more of an edge. So I wasn't mad at that. What I was mad about with this project is the unnecessary use of the auto-tune. Because if you take out the auto-tune, and I'm mixing up the two albums. It's been a while since I've listened to the two EPs. One, I actually thought, and it might have been the Mulholland one, I thought was very promising because the beats were very different and very murky, but she sounded pretty good on them, and the production was solid. But it was just the auto-tune just totally made her sound like not even her, and that's where Kyle says that I said she was sounding like a GoBot, and she was. But if she had just done Amerie over this production, I probably would have liked it. But it was an unnecessary auto-tune that just jacked it up for me. So I thought it was promising. I wasn't mad at the direction, but the execution, hot mess.
You know what, guys? I talked to Tom about this yesterday, but with her as well as Mario, both of them were gone for nearly a decade. They came back, and it's really interesting because when you're gone for that long, you're sort of allowed to reinvent yourself without anyone really noticing, and that's what I think both of them did. They came back with a much more darker sound, and it might not have necessarily connected with all of the R&B fans, but I think it was pretty cool that they went out and they tried something different. And to me, both artists came across as genuine in their attempt to make something different. Unfortunately, at least for Amerie, because I did like some of Mario's album, Amerie, it just didn't connect with me. But Tom, I know you did like one record on there, Curious, I think it's called.
Yeah, that was the first song in the first EP. I tried to like the project, man, but if you just put this music in front of me and didn't tell me who the artist was, like Ed said, I would have had no idea this was Amerie. It just wasn't Amerie music. Wasn't what I was expecting or looking for. And I'm one of her biggest fans, so that's disappointing.
Well, shout outs to Amerie. I'm going to say she's top 3 for best legs in the game. Ed, do you want to disagree with that?
Player, focus. But yeah, she's probably number 1, dog. But focus.
Ed, I don't think we even got a chance to say happy birthday to you since the last podcast.
Yes, it's been a minute. Everything has gone down. I had a birthday. Amerie dropped an album. I was sad. Then my other boy dropped an album, and so it's been a very interesting birthday season for your boy. All my faves are doing weird stuff.
Your other boy? You mean your king? your god
Yes.
himself, Mr. Keith Sweat,
Oh,
who you interviewed.
Yes, who I interviewed, and he was just waking up, and he kicked into gear at the second half. But man.
But Tom actually gave us a sneak peek of some of the better songs off his new album. Tom, what were the two songs? Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo was one of them?
Some song with Teddy Riley and Tank.
Oh my God.
And the king is back, guys. Real R&B is back.
Why? Hold on. I'm trying to Google Barry's number because I need to get my man Barry Bars up here. You two are driving me nuts. I knew.
Ed, calm down. Before you get into the good stuff, let's dig deep into these two songs because I'd like to see how you're able to defend what he made with these two records, especially with that Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo record. Man, what on earth was your boy doing?
Playa, listen, and it comes to my man Keith. If he asked me to, I would probably punch both of you in the face and be like, oh, sorry, he told me to do it. But, however, I am still an unbiased reviewer, and I have to go on record and say, Keith, I love you, I love Cut Close, I love Silk, but the Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo might be the worst Keith Sweat song ever recorded. It's that horrible. So your boy ain't defending that, nor will your boy defend that Who's Your Daddy song where he and Tank and Teddy sound like three old geezers at the club praying on 19 shows. It's awful. Again, and we'll talk about the project at length in a second, but am I cool with an artist evolving? Yes. I talked about it. We talked about it in the interview with Keith, and I talked about it in my album review as well. I'm all for evolution, but it has to make sense. You have to play your lane. You can't step too far out of your lane and forget that you're in your 50s, pushing 60. If I said it about Usher, I got to say it about Keith.
You know what, though? I had a revelation, guys. You're gonna be surprised to hear this, but I feel like since everyone is doing it now, it's not even like you can say anything bad anymore. Every 90s artist is doing it now. So it's like all we need is Joe to make a trap record, and then officially all these older artists have flipped, and then what can we even say anymore? It's just a thing.
Well, I can't remember if it was on Twitter or if they left a message on my post or somewhere. There was a fan who reached out to me and basically said that. They were like, you give these artists a hard time, but at this point, everybody's doing it. Trap is like the prevailing sound. It's not even a genre anymore. It's become the sound. So you can't get mad at the sound. And again, like I keep saying, and we'll go into this in detail in a second, I'm not mad at the sound. I'm mad at the execution of the sound. Same with Marie's album. I ain't mad with the production. I'm mad at you sounding like Megatron. I ain't mad at Keith using trap beats. I'm mad when he's sounding like Tyga on a song. So that's the problem.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Johnny Gill was rolling over in his grave when Keith Sweat was skirting on that song too.
Oh my God!
Johnny Gill.
You know how many messages I got about that skirt? Oh, what a heartbreaking week.
Tom, and then I know you did some research on this Who's Your Daddy song because you were trying to figure out if Tank was actually on that record or the history behind it. Can you start speculating? Because I want to hear this weird theory.
No, that was the other Tank song with Teddy Riley. That was on the Case album.
He's talking about the Case record, not this.
Oh.
This was definitely Tank.
I'm fine with just grazing over the rest of the Keith Sweat album, though, and moving on if that's cool, though.
Actually, no, we are not doing that because we ain't getting my man out to dry. Because here's my thing about the album. A lot of people were like, oh, Ed, you're biased. Your review was too high for this album. It was trash. No. See, that's why I can tell if you're reading the reviews or if you're just skimming through them because I explain why. The problem with this record, Playing for Keeps, there are two very terrible songs that we have already discussed. But then there are 3 or 4 classic Keith songs. In fact, if you listen to the album, it's like he intentionally did like a regular Keith record, a trap record, regular Keith trap, regular Keith trap. He just alternated. When he did his stuff, it was some of the best songs he's put out in a long time. That Reg Negligee song, whoo, that Baby song, tremendous. But then it's mixed in with some of these kind of trap songs. And again, the trap songs aren't horrible besides the 2 we mentioned. They just are okay. So Keith is singing Keith over trap beats, and it doesn't really hit your ear right. By the end of the song, you're kind of like, oh, okay, I get it. So I see the experimentation just didn't work right. So the album overall is a mixed bag, but it's not nearly as bad as Usher's, and it's not as bad as Amerie's.
Well, there you have it. Shout out to Keith Sweat for putting out yet another album. I looked at YouTube, and I'm going to make you guys take a guess on this. Guess which song on the album has the most YouTube views right now aside from the single?
Which one?
I know
Eeny,
the answer.
Meeny, Miny, Mo. And I don't know why.
Well, I know why. It's because when those songs are created on playlists, that's the first song. Like whenever you look at a playlist of a song, or sometimes when artists, for instance, share their albums with us in advance, and you look at like the plays, the first song, no matter what it is, always has like triple the plays of anything else.
Yeah.
You hit play on that first, or you accidentally hit it. That one always gets the first play. So that's not a big shot.
Well, actually, isn't that dangerous? Go ahead,
yeah.
Tom.
I was going to say pretty much everyone tuned out right after that.
Oh, my God.
No, okay.
Whatever.
Here's
the second song is the best song.
Calm down. Here's my thing, though. I don't know what Keith is like with, analytics on social media, but if he's doing his research and he's looking at the numbers, we might have Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo as the next single, guys. If we're just looking at views, he's thinking, oh, wow, the people are gravitating towards this record.
I mean, he might, but I wouldn't hope he'd be that dumb to just look at that number. I mean, there's more that goes into it than just, like, the numbers behind it, especially with an artist like that. I mean, if this is Doja Cat or some, like, meme YouTuber, then I can see that being a driving force. I would seriously doubt that Keith would throw that and try to get that mess on Urban AC. He better get that Baby or that Reg Negligee or something else that his fans will actually gravitate toward. That's the weird thing with this. I understand the mentality of trying to stay fresh and current, but it is frustrating because especially at Keith, who your core audience is. And your core audience is too old to be turning up like that. They'll turn up a little bit, but Auntie ain't twerking that hard. So you just got to kind of remember that. So I don't see how like Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo even made his way to the album.
Well, if you hear it at a local radio station, you can blame Ed for streaming it 1,000,000 times. Now, let's talk about Raheem DeVaugh's new album, Decade of a Love King. I know you guys both really like that album. Tom, can you tell me about the album a little bit? You went to his listening party.
Man, the thing I took away from the album and his listening party is he's continuing to stay motivated when making music. When he makes an album, it doesn't sound like he sleptwalked through it like most of the albums we're hearing these days, which is a positive, and that's what you get. You got some different sounds on there. He tried some different things, but you still have that, signature Raheem sound. So that's how I felt about it. What did you think, Ed?
I totally agree. And we were just talking about 2 artists that we love that just kind of drifted away from their signature sounds for one reason or another. But Raheem gave you a Raheem album, and it really, really works. And I feel like this is one of his better albums since Loveland. It's been a while. I mean, not that he ever comes out with inferior products, but this one really, really stood out to me. And it may have just been a good palate cleanser since I've had so much auto-tune on my freaking plate. But I really liked it. It's a Raheem album, and he's just a genuinely nice guy anyway, so he's one of those dudes you're happy to see win.
And I'll tell you what, guys, there's a song on the album. I think it's called "When It's Real." It's the last song.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you don't hear R&B songs like that anymore that have so much feeling and love in it. I even sent him a DM last night, and he responded. I just let him know, thank you for making songs like that. The song made me want to go home immediately and hug my wife. That's the type of feeling. Who's making songs like that anymore?
Oh,
wow.
Well, Playa, then that's a great point. And I was watching, and you're gonna blow me up for this. So last night I was watching Empire. I'm probably one of the last dudes on earth to still watches that crappy show. But on the show, as Kyle knows, Mario is one of the artists. And there was this scene where, I don't know what Mario's name is on the show, I can't remember. But Mario was talking to Lucius, and Mario's singing his new song, and Lucius is like, this is trash. Mario's like, what? No, the song is great. And he says something that I feel like is very telling in R&B right now. He's like, you're singing it perfect, but there's no soul, there's no emotion into what you're singing. So Mario just starts singing it again, but he's just singing it louder. And he's like, you can sing it as loud as you want, but it's still missing the passion and the soul. And that, to me, is what a Raheem DeVaughn has and a whole lot of these records. And not just talking about these newer artists. I'm talking about old heads, too. That's why their projects are just so okay. And that's really the difference between a 3.5 album and a 4.5 album, because there is just a soul, a passion, a drive that's missing in the music, and that's why everything just, it's technically good, but you forget about it immediately because it doesn't speak to you. Raheem knows what he's doing.
Right. Well, shout outs to Raheem DeVaughn, great dude, keeps it consistent. And speaking of consistency, H.E.R, my girl Gabby Wilson, dropped an EP, yet another EP. She dropped it yesterday. This is the second part to her I Used to Know Her segment. Ed, I know you're already over there complaining about her still not dropping an album, but have you guys had a chance to listen to the EP yet?
I've heard the EP. I actually liked it better than the first version. This one's very acoustic, and I thought that really kind of set it apart, that it sounds different. The problem with her, and we've talked about this before, is that at this point she's dropping so much material that it's like every 3 months she's got something new, and it's all starting to run together. And I feel like she's burning herself out before we ever get this magical EP. And by the time it comes, nobody's going to be there to listen or to be there to kind of ride with it, because we've kind of burnt out on her. So what we need is something different, something fresh, and this one is slightly different. So for me, I want my girl either to go away for an extended period of time or either give her something completely different. Her fans will love it. I like quite a few songs on this one, but it's starting to get overkill, Playa.
You know what? I agree with you actually on that, Ed, but it was interesting, like you said, this EP is a little different sonically than her last couple. It's a little more acoustic, which, Tom, it goes towards, that's the Gabby Wilson sound, right, with the guitar and the live singing. I know a lot of her previous music was more of that, like, moody, trap soul type music. Yep. Tom, do you see the youth gravitating towards it? I mean, she's built up a fan base at this point, but now she's switching it up. Do you think that's a smart move?
It's so hard to call it, man, because anything is possible when you have a label involved in money. I mean, we saw what happened with LMA, who, if she put that record out as an independent artist, would have never caught, anyone's attention, unfortunately. It's just the nature of it. So people making good music, it's so hard to say. But when you have a label involved, you never know. I mean, good music speaks for itself, so we'll just have to see. I just hope that's what she wants to be making. At least she's not performing behind a bedsheet anymore.
No, she's not behind the bed sheet wearing a mankind mask.
Oh, man. She's actually going to be headlining her own tour with Tone Stith opening up for her. I know some of the people on your site for Ed were really excited about that tour. So if you haven't, go get tickets to that. Her puts on a great show, and I think Tone does as well, from my understanding. So that will be
Kyle,
good.
Let me ask you a question, Kyle. Is there any chance this Bryson Tiller single could take her over the top?
You know what? I'm actually surprised it was even chosen as a single. It's weird. Hers single releases and the strategy behind it has been weird because like she just released that as a single and she's already put out a second part to that EP. Just like how she already put out like 3 EPs and then Focus became a single. So I'm not really sure what the team's doing, but I don't think that single is going to take her over the top. It's not going to be like a boot up type of record. I think it's just another song in the catalog for her.
Got it.
Yeah. I got a couple more records here, and this one, you know, it's been a struggle to get Tom to listen to new music, guys. I'll be honest with you. Every time I try to get him to listen to something, he just says, well, it doesn't sound like the 90s. I'm not going to listen. So, and I had to do a little bit of Jedi mind tricks to get him to listen to this new Mariah song. You know what I told him?
What'd you tell him?
I told him that Little C's was featured on the song, and Tom went nuts.
I did not go nuts. Little C's, come on.
Well, first of all, there will be no Caesar Leo trashing on this podcast. That is my man. Love me some Caesar Leo.
But this new Mariah song, Ain't No No, off the new album Caution, it samples a Little C's and Biggie song and Little Kim, Crush on You. Tom, you love the original.
Yeah, the original's a classic. I think I saw someone comment somewhere that said, why are these artists just ripping off, or producers ripping off the exact sample? Why can't they get more creative with it? I don't think that takes away necessarily from the song being good or not, but it is a valid point. What do you think, Kyle?
I mean, it's sort of like, you know what it reminds me of? I mean, that record reminds me of pretty much like Ariana Grande's first album. I mean, it used the same sample, but I think if the sample is used effectively, I really don't have a complaint with it being used. I mean, even going back to the Tamia record, So Into You, that sample was the Commodores, and that beat was exactly the same. So I don't really have any complaints with it. The song itself, I think, is cool. It kind of reminds me of that like mid-2000s Mariah that we're all used to by now. And a lot of the records that she's put out have been like that. So I'm excited for this project. I think it's going to be a solid release. Ed, what do you think?
Well, first of all, going to the samples, I think to complain about that is silly because that's what Mariah has always done. Like when she had The Roof, that was the Mobb Deep song, not tamper with it all. Well, I mean, it had a little bit of elements added to it to make it less gritty, but that's just kind of what Mariah has always done. That's in her wheelhouse. So for her to take that sample, that's just going back to old school 90s Mariah. So it's, you know, it's her sound. I'm not mad at it at all. I really liked it because as you know, I've been critical of her earlier singles that she's dropped. This one, as we were saying earlier, sounds like Mariah, but also sounds a little current. So not only is it something that's in her wheelhouse and from her toolkit, but it sounds a little updated. So to me, this is stuff that I love, and it's by far the best single of hers I heard. Now, of course, Crush on You is one of my favorite songs of all time, like literally probably top 5 hip-hop song in my personal collection. So there's probably a little bit of that going on too, but I love it. I love it. I love it. Best thing she's done in a long time, player.
And then she also had that other record. I don't think we mentioned it on our last podcast. She had a record out called Distance with Ty Dolla. That was pretty good too, I found. That was a little progressive and different for her, but I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, Well, speaking of samples, guys, there was another record that dropped actually just yesterday, I guess. Trey Songz is back. VA's Finest, Shooting Shots with Tory Lanez and Ty Dolla. I get them all confused, but Tory Lanez and Ty Dolla and Jeremiah, I swear, are on every R&B song at this point.
Player, I just wrote up before we got on the podcast. I just published a review, and it had a Vince Staples review, and he had a song with Ty Dolla $ign. I'm like, every time I review an album this year, freaking Ty Dolla $ign is on it. What is going on?
But Tom, the record sample is one of your favorite Timbaland beats of all time, Can We by SWV.
That's a great production. I haven't listened to the new single yet. Based on the title, I'm not sure I'd want to. You've got me mildly interested in checking it out now, but, oh, man, Trey.
Well, Jedi Mind Trick works again.
Yep.
But guys, don't you guys feel old that some of your favorite classics are now being sampled into this new era of R&B? Are you guys starting to feel a little old?
Oh, yes, Playa. I've told this story before. The moment where I knew that I was old was I was in either a grocery store or Walgreens or something like that. And they were playing Tamia and they were playing Kelly Price. And I'm like, why are they playing songs from my college years in the freaking grocery store? This means I am officially old. When your favorites are elevator music, it's time to wrap it up.
Mhm. You know what, guys? It's interesting. I listened to this Trey record, and it was just okay. It kind of felt like he was trying to do something a little more trendy, which is kind of weird because just a couple of years ago, I mean, a couple now, I guess, dates back to like 6 to 8 years ago, he was putting out hits, even though all the songs kind of sounded the same. I'm talking about like the Dive-Ins and the Love Faces and the Neighbors Know My Name. They all followed the same formula, but it seems like now he has to chase trends because the landscape of R&B has changed. What do we expect from Trey at this point?
It's hard to say. I really enjoyed his last project, which felt a little bit more mature, and it was just kind of a maturation, I'll say, of his sound. There were no say-ahs or no goofiness like that. This Trey is getting up there too. I mean, he's not Usher's age, but he's maturing. How long can you be in the club pouring liquor down girls' faces? Well, I guess Keith and Teddy Riley and them still are. But anyway, so the point is I liked where he was going, but it didn't connect. And we talked about how hard it is for these artists of the Treys and the Marios and the Neos who were young in the early 2000s, mid to late 2000s, and now here going we're wrapping up the 2010s, they're kind of finding it hard to find their voice because they still have an audience, but they're getting a little too old for the stuff that they came up on, but they're not quite, Urban AC, Key Sweat, Reg Negligee level yet. So they're in this weird middle ground, and it's really hard for them to kind of find their voice. I would like more stuff like Tremaine, but I don't know, honestly, if that's going to resonate. The last album, and Kyle, you might know better than me, I'm not sure how well that performed, but it certainly isn't talked about much today.
Yeah, I was just,
you're absolutely right.
You hit the nail on the head, Ed. I was just thinking the same thing. I feel like he's going to have the same struggle as Usher in terms of trying to remain popular and relevant and avoiding Urban AC. So it might be a struggle. He's 30. He could be 34 this year, so it's going to be tough.
Well, hopefully Trey gets it together. If not, he'll just be shooting shots on the charts. Let's talk about D'Angelo.
Shooting blanks, maybe.
Calm down. Can we talk about D'Angelo's new song? Ed considers him a Hall of Famer. We haven't forgot about the SoulBack Hall of Fame yet. Tom, introduce us to this D'Angelo record.
Well, it came out of nowhere, and it made for a video game about cowboys. That's all I know.
Oh, my gosh. Listen to this guy, all the hours of research he went in for that statement. Anyway, what happened is this song is part of the soundtrack for Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a game I really want, but I'm an old, busy man now, and being an adult sucks, so I don't get to play it. Anyway, so the song, because it's set for that, it's Western themed, and I think for what it is, it's pretty good. I know Tom was over there retching because it didn't sound like Brown Sugar, but good Lord, he's riding horses and stuff. He can't make it sound like that. It's fine for what it is.
Well,
Kyle, can I revisit the case situation? We never got back to that.
Oh boy, I was hoping you forgot.
Come on, guys. This is the most interesting part of this podcast. So I was listening to Case's latest album, Therapy, which we actually all like. Mm-hmm. But I was listening closely to his collaboration with Tank and Teddy Riley, Which I still haven't figured out how there's two collaborations out at the same time that have Tank and Teddy Riley on it, along with Keith. But anyway, I was listening closely, and that is not Tank on the song. That is not
my
Tank.
goodness.
I've heard every single Tank song he's ever put out, unreleased songs, albums. That's not Tank.
I will admit it sounded weird because I remember knowing that this song was coming up and it had him on it. And I remember when I was listening to the album, I went back to the screen. I don't know if I was listening to it on Spotify or what, but I went back to whatever streaming service I was looking at on. I was like, this is Tank's song? Because he didn't sound like himself. I'm not going to say it sounded like, I don't know, Genuine or some other person, but it sounded a little off.
I'll give you my speculation if anyone cares to hear it.
We don't, but you're going to give it anyway.
Tom, was he singing behind the bed sheets as well?
No. I have 3 speculations on this one.
3?
Number one, it was Tank, but he was sick that day.
Okay.
So he couldn't really sing too well. Number 2, they just came from the club. It was like 4 a.m. and they're like, let's do a song. They were both drunk and they're like, let's record a song.
I definitely feel that.
Number 3, and this might be the most likely answer, that is not Tank. It was supposed to be Tank, but it actually ended up being one of Case's background singers, and they just called it Tank because they didn't have enough time to re-record it.
And they just credited it as Tank? Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Does Tank still get paid if his fake doppelganger gets to sing it?
Yep. Tank still got paid. And come on, no one even noticed the difference. Have you heard anyone else bring this up?
Well, that's true. No one else has brought it up, but
that's ridiculous that no one even notices.
I think it's ridiculous that you're drinking this heavily at 10 o'clock in the morning to come up with this.
Drinking this? Come on. Go listen to the song again, please.
You got multiple choice theories? Oh, my goodness.
Let's do a multiple choice answer of why Teddy Riley and Tank gave Case the better song than they did for Keith.
Well, I can't even... even I can't defend that.
Don't make me go listen to this, Tom. Don't make me go listen to this record and find out that Lonnie Barrio is actually singing Tank's part.
I don't know who it is.
Oh my God! I think it's Tank. I just think it was option B. I think they had a long night at the club and he got what he got. You know how Case do. You know how Tank is. Those boys like to get out there.
And
then suddenly Keith Sweat stumbled into the studio and said, "Who's your daddy?"
Oh my goodness!
This all makes sense now.
Listen, Ed. I have a beef with you real quick. I feel it takes away Teddy Riley's legendary status.
What?
Yep. Come on, man.
Explain yourself. First of all, get your hands up and then explain yourself.
We expect a higher caliber from a legend than a song like that.
No, I will not disagree with that. But does that mess with his legendary status? Absolutely not.
Yep. I mean, it's debatable at this point.
Debatable, please. Let me go rest my head on his 1,000 stacks of gold and platinum plaques. I think he's good, dog. But I will not disagree. I can't argue with you. Some of them songs on that album made my soul cry. I
said Teddy Riley, not Keith. I don't care about Keith. I'm talking about Teddy Riley.
About Keith. I thought you said Keith.
Teddy Riley.
No, Teddy, come on now. Come on.
Man.
I won't even dignify that.
Guys, DJ Soulchild is about to kill both of you guys for this conversation, so we're going to keep it light, and we're going to talk about one of his favorite artists, NAO, who dropped that album. New album, I think it's called Saturn. Ed, you listened to it, right?
I listened to it, and I absolutely love it. I've only listened to it once. I didn't have time to review it, so I haven't had time to revisit it yet. But it's one of my favorite projects in recent memory. Her first album I thought was really good. It got a lot of buzz. I liked it. I didn't love it as much as everyone else seemed to, but I really like this one. I think the concept gelled, and I really like what she did as far as presenting some of the themes. And it's been driving me crazy for the past couple of years who she sounds like, and it finally came to me on this album. She sounds like, Kyle, I don't know if you remember her, but she sounds like Billy Lawrence. That's who she reminds me of.
That's my girl right there, Ed.
I am shocked you know who Billy Lawrence is.
I have no idea who that is. Anyway,
oh my God. Just go to YouTube. You will be rewarded. Mid-90s R&B chick. Our listeners know.
Listen, Ed.
See what I'm surrounded by.
Ed. I don't have time to be listening to 90s R&B anymore. We got a new artist on the scene that Tom is really excited about, Lucky Daye. Tom, can you tell us about this record by Lucky Daye?
Where the heck did this artist come from? I have no idea. He signed to RCA, though, apparently. And I sent it to, like, 6 of my closest people who I trust their ear for music, including you two. And pretty much everyone agreed that it's actually a pretty dope song. And it has live instrumentation. Since when do you hear a new artist using that these days? That's what I'm excited about. So I'm curious to hear more from this guy. But, man, this came out of nowhere. So it's cool, though.
I think that's what really grabbed me, the instrumentation, because, I don't know, it's something you don't expect, especially from, I mean, I don't know anything about dude, but because Tom just was like, hey, check this out. And I checked it out and I was like, hey, it's dope. But from an artist that isn't an established artist, if Joe came out with this song, I'd be like, oh, it's great. But, you know, it's Joe. He has experience. I would expect that from him. But from what I assume is a younger artist, definitely an emerging artist, if not young in age, young in the industry, I really like what I heard. And I think that there is some definite promise there.
Well, the record is called Roll Some More. We got to find out who this artist is. I mean, I'm sure if we Wikipedia it, we can probably get some information. But everyone go check out that song by Lucky Daye. It's great.
Can I give a quick shout-out to a project?
Yep.
It's an artist named Darian Dean who just released a project. He's based out of New York. He's been around for a while doing his thing. Released this new album called Detours. My good friend George Littlejohn heads up his label. And you know what's cool about him is, like, what we don't realize here in the U.S., he gets booked. Like, he does, like, kind of adult-grown soul music. He gets booked for a lot of shows in Europe and places overseas. They really appreciate that style of music, but here we don't really pay attention, unfortunately, these days.
Right.
So it's cool to see an artist like him, you know, doing his thing and getting recognized, even if it's not in his home country.
And shout out to my man George. He sent me a copy of that album. I still haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. I'm going to get it to at home, and I'll probably listen to it this weekend. But from everything I've heard online and checked it out, because, you know, if you send me something, my brother going to do his research. And it seems like the reactions have been very, very favorable. So looking forward to that one.
Excellent. Guys, it's time for the Playa Please Awards. Are you guys ready?
Oh, we got plenty of them. I feel like this whole episode has been one.
Yeah, I think we handed out a few already.
Well, I'll tell you who's not getting a Playa Please Award, Miss Ashanti, who I know you guys were going to bring up eventually, that she only sold like 12 tickets at a most recent concert and it got canceled.
I wasn't going to, but I'm glad you did.
And 50 Cent ridiculed her for it. 50 Cent bought like tickets, like pretty much all the tickets to a Ja Rule concert just so the concert would be empty and Ja Rule perform in front of an empty crowd. We're not going to even go there with this one because Ashanti is exempt from the Playa Please Award, guys. Do you guys want to know why?
Why?
For some unknown reason that I can't even fathom right now, she got nominated for a Soul Train Award.
For what?
This year?
Yeah. I'm not even sure what she's done this year aside from looking good on Instagram, but
it's like the Instagram Woman of the Year award?
It's apparently the Soul Train Centric Award. I don't know what that means.
Well, the Centric Award
Tamia is also nominated for it.
Who is?
Tamia.
The Centric Award used to be, when I used to keep up with this stuff, used to be a channel called Centric, and it's kind of BET's offshoot where they play like the real R&B and not the weird stuff. But what has Ashanti, now if you told me she got nominated for the Thirst Trap of the Year award, okay, I get that. But like what song has she put? I'm serious. Like, I don't know what she's put out.
Well,
No.
all I know is she doesn't get a Playa Please Award this time around just because she got nominated.
And
All
real quick, I want to talk about this ticket situation because I don't think she deserves a Playa Please. Well, maybe she does. The thing with the ticket situation, I don't think she sold 12 tickets because she sucked. She sold 12 tickets because she would, for whatever reason, tried to play at some college, like homecoming or something. Player, you gotta know your audience. Those college kids don't know you. They were 4 years old when you were riding on that all baby elephant. They don't know who you are. So you have to know your audience. We fuss about this all the time, but artists need to realize it's not 2004 anymore. You could have packed out another show with the right promotion and the right audience. But, geez, they want to see Jeremiah and her. They don't see you. Well, they want to look at you, but they don't want to hear you.
Oh, my goodness.
This is true, though. Shout out to my girl, Ashanti. Let's get into the real Playa Please Awards. Guys, are you ready for some new, authentic, real, traditional R&B from the likes of our boy Wiz Khalifa? Because he's ready to put one out.
I remember I'm old enough to remember when Biggie had an album and he sang an R&B song on the album and he was half drunk singing. I remember.
Yeah.
And apparently Lil C's he tells a story about how they literally just came in drunk from the club and just sang the song and it became a record on the album. And he was pissed because Puffy changed it up, whatever. Anyway, I remember when that was just seen as a novelty. We didn't say Biggie's releasing an R&B album. It was just a fun little, almost pseudo skit to just have some fun. We got these dudes auto-crooning and auto-tuning and calling it R&B, and people will probably accept it more than they will some of the stuff that we've heard this year. That's where we become.
I feel like it's, you know whose fault this is? I gotta blame two people. Well,
I got a list.
Not really.
Go ahead.
Number one is that guy with the face tattoos, that white dude.
Oh, 6ix9ine?
No, the guy with the long hair. He's like
Little Pump.
He has all these hits. No, he's not a rapper. Well, I guess he's not a rapper. I don't know. He's had huge hits this year.
You're talking about.
And you're not talking about 6ix9ine? Oh,
Post Malone.
Yes,
Post Malone.
Yes, that's what you're talking
I
about.
blame that guy, and to a lesser extent, Khalid.
Oh no, I don't blame Khalid. You know who the real patient zero is? T-Pain. That's who I blame. Yes, I'm
here we go.
No.
Yes, I am, player, because they're all his evil little offspring. That's who it is.
I mean, I guess if we trace the lineage back that far.
Yes, if we trace it back like the dinosaurs, how birds evolved from dinosaurs and crap. Yes, he is the ugly thing from the tar pits that has destroyed it. It all goes back to T-Pain.
Well, if you really want to go back further, what about the talk box and all that?
Oh, I have no beef with I have no beef with the talk box. It's the same thing with trap. I have no beef with trap. I have beef with people who misuse it.
Well, Ed, do you know who has beef with you right now?
Who?
Daniel Bamber, our boy Daniel. He's been throwing shots at you on Facebook, and he loves T-Pain, so I would watch it if I were you.
Well, shout out to my boy, but I hate your boy T-Pain. He knows this. This is no shock.
All right.
That's the homie.
So we'll be on the lookout for this Wiz Khalifa R&B album. Guys, there's also a new. The next Playa Please, guys, goes to the Beyhive, and I should be very careful as I say this, but I'm on the other side of the world right now, so I think I'm safe.
No, they'll come get you.
So, as you guys are aware, the Carters dropped a decent album. Well, the Beyhive was apparently not very satisfied with this album, so they've gone on ahead, edited each record, took out Jay-Z from each song so that they could create a new solo Beyonce album entitled Everything is Beyonce.
Jeez. How do you have the level of... First of all, look, Playa, I'm a grown man. I love Keith Sweat. When I have the opportunity to interview him, I will clear my schedule. Tom knows this. I will clear my schedule. I will make it happen. But I do not have enough time in the world to go through an album, delete all of the Athena Cage vocals or whatever, and then have the standing album and there have my complete album. These bitter betties still mad because of the Jay-Z cheating. If Beyonce forgave the man, y'all can forgive the man. Let it go. Stay out of their life. That's what kills me about the Beyhive. You can have your stand-up, but Playa, you not married to Beyonce. Chill out. She don't know you. Let her live her life. Let them be happy. Oh, my goodness. I just wish I had the amount of free time that some of these people have on the internet. Because I could be playing Red Dead Redemption 2, listening to D'Angelo on the soundtrack.
Wow.
On a side note, Tom, back in the day when we used to download MP3s, did you ever cut out like skits that played at the end of songs? Like I remember one, it was like it was a Beyonce song, My First Time. This is from the topic of Beyonce. It was an unreleased Beyonce song produced by the Neptunes, and for some reason it would like fade into a Jagged Edge record.
Wow.
I don't remember this song. I need to check it out.
I used to hate when they used to put a skit on as part of a song, and especially when the skit was annoying, you'd want to fast forward every time.
Yep. Anyways, last Playa Please, guys. I mean, we've been talking about R&B this whole podcast. Let's go back to fast food. I mean, they call me the fast food king. That is the nickname that I proclaim. I read something interesting from McDonald's. You guys like the Quarter Pounder, don't you?
Of course, it's a classic.
Tom? Seems to be over there dying right now.
Yeah, I think he had some of those sesame seeds slipped down the wrong pipe.
I'm back. I'm alive.
Anyways.
I'm fighting the cold over here.
Oh, I am too. I feel you. I got my little water over here.
Well, Tom, we're over here talking about Quarter Pounders. You like Quarter Pounders, right?
I gave up on meat like over 4 years ago.
Okay, well, 4 years ago you liked Quarter Pounders, right?
Absolutely. Definitely.
All right.
I'm craving a Burger King Quarter Pounder right now.
Well, somebody is suing McDonald's for like $50 million because if you order a Quarter Pounder with or without cheese, it's the same price. And they're arguing that a Quarter Pounder without cheese should be cheaper. And the difference in the two sandwiches is about 20 cents. We really suing people for $50 million for this now?
For 20 cents. Is this really what we become? And again, it goes back to how much time y'all got. I don't have the energy. Like, 20 cents. I'll hook you up with 20 cents just to leave me alone.
Tom?
I mean, the money grab these days. Even music, you know? I mean, you just put it out there for the streaming dollars, right? So everyone's trying to hustle these days.
Well, that's true. Many lawsuits that we've been seeing flying about songs, so there's no shock there.
Speaking of lawsuits, are you going to give H.E.R a Playa Please Award?
For what?
Oh, man. He's trying to keep the details of his case sealed about the herpes thing because he claims if everyone knew about it, it would be embarrassing for him.
Wait, who is this? Usher?
Yeah, you didn't read the headlines?
I missed this one. I thought the herpes thing ended up being false because he said he didn't have it. I guess he
just came out.
He didn't have it. Oh, yeah, I missed this.
Yeah, it came out yesterday. So he doesn't want everyone to know the real details of what's going on. So he's trying to keep the court documents sealed or whatever. I don't care.
Oh my God! Why? We live in such a TMZ, clickbaity, headline-driven society. It's so depressing. Why are we discussing what goes on in Usher draws? Like, why?
Well, if people knew he had herpes for real, they probably wouldn't be buying his music or streaming it.
Well,
is that facts? I don't know.
I think it is facts because we know that there's still a sex appeal that goes with it, and honestly, I think that's what hurt that Here I Stand album. Usher was no longer desirable, and a lot of fans were like, he's an old married man now. I don't want that no more.
So you know where he messed up recently,
had parasites in his drawers, maybe the same thing.
Let me ask you this. Do you think he recently messed up on his last album on the song I actually like? What's the first song called?
Need You.
Yeah, so you know how he's describing what type of woman he likes? Where he's like slim waist and stuff like that? Man, he just alienated probably over 75% of his fan base by saying that. I'm just being honest.
No, oh my gosh. I wouldn't go there, but I do get your larger point, and that's why a lot of artists are making
larger.
Oh my gosh.
What is going on? Guys?
Focus. I'm trying to keep you out of trouble because what a lot of artists are doing now is they're being a little bit more inclusive in their videos and their lyrics, so they aren't segregating people like that. But yeah, player, you can't go around in 2018 talking about you only like the Skinny Menace because you will be in a think piece quicker than anything.
I'll never forget when I was at Tank's shows, and he used to always say, I like me a big woman. But meanwhile, his fiance was like some skinny girl, so you got to play the role, guys. You can't exclude anyone.
And maybe he does like the big women, but he just fell in love with a skinny one. You just like, hey, I like vanilla ice cream, but I can't eat it every day.
Can you let me speculate, man? That's my job here.
It's a terrible job. I try to save you.
Well, he better put out a good album soon, or we're all jumping ship. Every single one of them.
No.
Oh, I have already jumped. I think you're still there with your life vest on, hoping for the best. The big giant iceberg is headed toward the Titanic. We already gone on our lifeboat. Kyle is sitting up there saying, this time we're going to miss it.
Yep.
Hey guys, let's get into the SoulBack track of the day, Tom. Do you have anything for us? I know you were posting this Mario Winans debut album earlier today.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I posted that. I was listening to that yesterday. A lot of people didn't realize he had a debut from the 90s. A lot of people thought when he came out in early 2000s with that I Don't Want to Know, saddest song ever, that was his debut. But he actually had one on Motown. It didn't really do too well, but pretty solid album. Ed, did you hear it?
If I heard that album, and we talked about this before the show, if I heard it, I don't remember it. I remember the single. I don't really remember the album that well. But like you said, it was one of those songs that kind of came out, got a little bit of play, album came and went. So he did have his time to shine maybe 5 or 6 years later, but I don't think I ever heard the album, so I have to go back and check it out this week.
Well, Tom, the actual SoulBack track of the day is the song that I posted, which is Turn It Up by Johnta Austin. Can you tell people about that song a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know the history of that song, but I guess that was what he was going to roll out as a solo artist. And we've been waiting on his album, as you posted, for many years now. One of the top writers in R&B over the past couple of decades. So where is that album, Kyle?
Oh, gosh.
That is a very interesting question. I think we've been waiting now 12 years for it. Love, Sex, Religion. Wow. And it still has yet to...
Oh, yeah, that album is in the freezer with the Winter Soldier. I don't think we're ever going to see that thing.
With the who?
Oh, Tom doesn't watch movies. Never mind.
You should have just said the Frozen Quarter Pounders.
Frozen Quarter Pounders. Watch one of the Marvel movies. Enlighten yourself.
Guys, that appears to be it for this week's podcast. Ed, what's going on with SoulBack.com?
Claire, I just realized one thing we didn't talk about that we can maybe talk about this next week. So over the past month, some members and I of the Soul and Stereo Cypher got together and we came up with a really cool project. The 100 Best R&B Songs of the 90s. We pretty much do it like we do our, I Got Soul and Stereo top songs of the year. We got together, all 5 of us submitted maybe our 30, I can't remember if it was 30 tracks or 40 tracks or whatever. Our favorite songs of the 90s, made one giant list, and then we kind of compiled and ranked and weeded some stuff out, and what we got is what we got. So if you have not seen that, go check that out on soulandstereo.com, 100 best R&B songs of the 90s. As well, in the month of November, my wife has a project with her writing group called Blog Like Crazy. We do this every year, where writers are encouraged to post at least one piece every day. And since I am a supportive husband, because I'm cool like that, I am also as part of this. So as part of that, that means you get go to Soul and Stereo every single day, and you'll get one new piece of content. And today we've got the new album review from Vince Staples. I got a review of somebody that I'm blanking on. Oh, Currency and Freddie Gibbs. That'll be up tomorrow. Got a Love Letters up the next day. So November, check out Soul and Stereo. Be new stuff each and every day. It's going to be a busy month.
Dope. Tom, what's going on with YouKnowIGotSoul.com?
Quick question for Ed. Do you have any of those Whatever Happened To features coming up? Those are usually pretty cool when you do them.
I do. Stay tuned.
All right. Well, look out. You Know I Got Soul. We'll have that Keith Sweat interview out early this week. That's pretty much it. Just posting as much good R&B as we can find as usual. What about you, Kyle?
I think that's pretty much it for me. I don't really. I mean, I got to get back to Canada first. I'll be back in the motherlands Wednesday, actually. So we'll have probably that's probably when I'll actually publish this podcast. So I mean, we're recording this on a Saturday, so it might be a little dated by the time we post this. Anything can happen, as you guys know, in R&B. Actually, nothing really ever happens anymore. But
yep.
But yeah, I mean, we'll just keep it moving. Got a couple of concerts coming up. Actually, there is an artist that I wanted to ask you guys about. Summer Walker.
Yes.
No idea.
I don't think
Zeppelin was. Yeah, we never talked about this artist. Zeppelin was nuts over this artist song.
For good reason. And the podcast.
Oh my God.
Come on. And chime in before we get out of here.
Yeah, just real quick. Her album dropped maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I thought it was okay. She's definitely an artist that kind of appeals to the younger generation of fans. It's like we were saying before, I think her music kind of suffers from that Mario on the Empire syndrome, where it's technically okay, but it's just missing a little soulfulness for me. It's just a little oomph that's missing. So I think everybody should definitely check out the project, because I have a lot. I know my cousin loves it. A lot of people love it, but it's all right. But there's promise there. But this project was just okay to me.
You know, listen, guys, before we get out of here, I'm tired of these 2-minute trap soul records that have one verse and one hook.
Yes. What is this bridge not exist anymore?
That's too much work to make a bridge.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you're probably right. That's probably exactly the reason.
But anyways, we'll talk more about Summer Walker, as well as a lot of R&B that are coming out in our next podcast episode. But until then, guys, I mean, this was a fun one, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. We'll get it published soon. I guess by the time you listen to this, it'll be published. But we're out of here. Kyle signing out. Tom and Ed, we're out.
We out.
Peace. 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 Peace.